Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viritam Kalmashapaham Savana Mangalam Srimadatatam Bhuvi Ginanti Je Bhurida Jana. This is the pranam mantra usually we do while reading the Gospel. You will all of know, perhaps, this mantra is from Gopi Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. There, Master Moshe aim has taken this shloka as the beginning to read this mantra, to read this shloka. So perhaps you know all the meaning of the shloka. So I just, for remembering, I am repeating now this one. This meaning is simply this, that Kathamritam, Tavo Kathamritam, your speech like nectar. This Gopi Gita, in the Gopi Gita, those gopis were singing this glorious song mentioning about their beloved Krishna. So in this way, they praised through this Gita, through this song, to the Krishna. And now you see, who it is meant for whom and done by whom. This sloka, the Bhurida Jana, those who are very noble soul, those are called noble. Bhurida means who means who gives away or who presents many things. By this they earned their glory, their fame. They are called Bhurida. So those glorious soul, they got their this glory by praising the Lord Krishna in this way. But means Tapta Jivanam, whose heart has become very much warm up, very warming heart, means very much exciting to remember them. So this way, their heart had become so much warm for the deviation of the Krishna, their beloved one. So in this way, it has been said that those whose heart has been burnt, Burida, the Sapta Jivanam, Kavi Viridam, those poets, those glorious souls, they raised him like this. And another thing is this, the Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viridam Kalma Shapoham. These songs removes the ignorance. They removes the our ignorance, or you can see it is called the our those who do not know their self, or those who do not know their uh, God beloved one. They are called this type of this is what is called Kalma Shapaham. They are the remembering of this. Can you give a stop? Stop. May I give you a little pause? Very Kripamayananda? Not necessary. It is going on there. Huh? They are listening these things. Oh, recording. So, Sravana Mangalam. If you do not understand the meaning of this, then even you will be very much benefited by this singing of this song. Sravana Mangalam, Srimadatam. Srimadatam, which means Srimad. The Sri, it is the called, usually we see Sri means Lakshmi. The Lakshmi here in the sense that the who is the possessor of all the glorious things, all the noble qualities They are called Srimadatam. It is, as it were, so beautifully, so spontaneously, it is scattered in the nature that if you just unfurl the mast of the boat, as it were, you will enjoy it. So in this way, Srimada, it is very easily available. Only the effort is necessary to unfurl the mast. This is the necessary. Or you can say you just have to open the door, then only the light will come, the air will come from outside, and the room will make you healthy. So in this way, it is called Srimadaptam, Bhuvi Ginantije Bhuridajana. So this sloka is meant for this, like this. Those gopis, they were singing the glory of the Krishna, and it is very beautifully sung by them. And if, who are interested, you can see in the 11th chapter, 10th chapter 29 to 33. It is Kondo, means it is called the cantos, and the chapters, it is 29 to 23. You can see that, it is there. So Pranam Mantra, after doing this Pranam Mantra, we shall read out the visit to Vidyasagar Mahasaya. This Vidyasagar, especially those who are from Bengal, we are aware of Mr. Vidyasagar. He was a reputed social reformer, all those things. Master Moshe is explaining here from the beginning of the first chapter. He has mentioned all the noble qualities of Vidyasagar Mahasaya and his activities, all those things. Now, Sri Ramakrishna wanted to visit Vidyasagar because in those days he was a famous gentleman in Kolkata. So he was interested. He asked M to take him to him so that he can see him, talk to him. All those things were there. So now Samsa made an appointment with Vidyasagar Prasad, and thus today Sri Ramakrishna is going to meet him with his some young boys or child, you can say, Brahmananda and others were there, like which is called Rakhal and etc. I shall read out this chapter nicely. You please listen to me. And though I am not a very good English speaker, but yet I am just trying to make myself available to you in this way. The carriage stopped in front of Vidyasagar's house. The master alighted, supported by Aim, who then led the way. In the courtyard were many flowering plants. As the master walked to the house, he said to him, like a child, pointing to his shirt button, "My shirt is unbuttoned. Will that often be the Tagore?" "Oh, no," said Aim. "Don't be anxious about it. Nothing about you will be offensive. You don't have to button your shirt." He accepted the assurance simply like a child. Vidyasagar was about 62 years old, 16 or 17 years older than the master. He lived in a two-story house built in the English fashion, with lawns on all sides and surrounded by a high wall. After climbing the stairs to the second floor, Sri Ramakrishna and his devotees entered a room at the far end of which Vidyasagar was seated facing them, with a table in front of him. To the right of the table was a bench. Some friends of their host occupied chairs on the other side, two sides. Vidyasagar rose to receive the master. Sri Ramakrishna stood in front of the bench with one hand resting on the table. He gazed at Vidyasagar as if they had known each other before and smiled in an ecstatic mood. In that mood, he remained standing a few minutes, now and then, to bring his mind back to normal consciousness. He said, I shall have a drink of water. In the meantime, the young members of the household and a few friends and relatives of Vidyasagar had gathered around. Sri Ramakrishna, still in an ecstatic mood, sat on the bench. A young man, 17 or 18 years old, who had come to Vidyasagar to seek financial help for his education, was seated there. The master sat down at a little distance from the boy, saying in an abstracted mood, Mother, this boy is very much attached to the world. He belongs to thy realm of ignorance. Vidyasagar told someone to bring water and asked Aim whether the master would like some sweetmeats also. Since Aim did not object, Vidyasagar were placed before the master. Bhavanath and Hazra also received their shares, who then were offered to Aim. Vidyasagar said, Oh, he is like one of the family. We need not worry about him. Referring to a young devotee, the master said to the Vidyasagar, He is a nice young man and is sound at core. He is like the river Phalgu. The surface is covered with sand. The surface is covered with sand, but if you dig a little, you will find water flowing underneath. After taking some of the sweets, the master, with a smile, began to speak to Vidyasagar. Meanwhile, the room had become filled with people. Some were standing and others were seated. So, up to this, what we see, Sri Ramakrishna, after reaching there, what is the position while he entered into his room? There was one gentleman or boy. He came to ask some financial help from him in this way. But Sri Ramakrishna understood he was the Antarjami. So he could see sitting here everything inside and outside of everything. So the boy who was seated there, what type of boy he is, having known this, Sri Ramakrishna is praying for the welfare of this boy, and this way. And also, Sam Krishna wanted to have a to drink a cup of tea or sorry water. So Vidyasagar Maharaj was trying to pass the sweets to Ramakrishna, and thus while he offered also to Bhavanath and Hazra, other those two young boys went to Ramakrishna. So they also took the part, and also he's asking about the master to take these sweets. But Vidyasagar Maharaj objected it because master is known to him, Vidyasagar, very much. So it is not necessary. He is as our family member, so you need not to show your courtesy to the aim or master. In this way, Ramakrishna, in this way, Vidyasagar Maharaj is telling to our our Ramakrishna. Now we shall come to the main point of the today's function. Master, of today at last I have come to the ocean. Up till now I have seen only canals, marshes, or a river at the most. But today I am face to face with the Sagar, the ocean, or love, with the Sagar, smiling. Then please take home some salt water, laughter. Master, oh no, why salt water? You are not the ocean of ignorance. You are the ocean of vidya, knowledge. You are the ocean of condensed milk, all love, Vidyasagar. Well, you may put it that way. So here we see that Ramakrishna, though he was not our worldly like man, he is merged into the samadhi always for little bit for a while he comes down to this worldly level and he talks in that way. But this Ramakrishna, again, he is so much concerned how to greet with the man like Vidyasagar. So nicely, it is appealing to Vidyasagar that he is telling, so long we have seen the canals, the marshes, the at least at least the rivers, but today I have come to meet the ocean. So Sagar, it means in English, it is ocean. So so ocean is also only available the salty water, but no, Sri Ramakrishna is telling you are not the salty water ocean. You are the Kshira, because there are seven oceans are there. Kshir Sagar, then Madhu Sagar, all those things are named. In the Puranas, there are many names are there in the name of Sagar, Kshir Sagar, Nuna Sagar, milk, uh, the, the Madhu Sagar, all those things are there. I just heard from the our other scriptures. So now here it is there, Vidyasagar. Well, Vidyasagar is now replying in this question, in this answer. Well, you may put it that way. The Pandit became silent. Vidyasagar remained silent. Sri Ramakrishna said, your activities are inspired by Sattva. Though they are rajasic, they are influenced by sattva. Compassion springs from the sattva. Though work for the good of others belongs to rajas, yet this rajas has sattva for its basis and is not harmful. Shuka and other sages cherished compassion in their minds to give people religious instructions to teach them about God. You are distributing food and learning. That is good too, if these activities are done in a selfless spirit, they lead to God. But most people work for fame or to acquire merit. Their activities are not selfless. Besides, you are already a Siddha. So the Master Moshe is telling in this about mentioning Sri Ramakrishna's attitude about the spirit of work, how to get the social work in the proper way. So we do sometimes, and various agencies they do also social work to uplift the mass, uplift the people. But Ramakrishna is telling that Vidyasagar Moshe, what he is doing, it is good for the people, no doubt. But if it be done selfless, unselfish work, then it will lead to the towards God, to a nishkam karma. So in the Sri Ramakrishna is praising the way of nishkam karma by which one can have bhakti, knowledge, all those supreme knowledge, all those things he can achieve by this nishkam karma. But it is for this necessary tapas, asceticism. This tapas, it is kaik, bachik, manasik, all kinds of tapas. Then mind and body will be fit to instrument to do this nishkam karma for the welfare of the people. In this way, it is said here. So nishkam karma in Gita also we have seen in we will see in the Gita, and Sram Vivekananda also in his Karma Yoga, he uh, he gave a lot of explanation about Karma Yoga, how to do proper spirit, in this proper spirit. So in this way it is said, the selfless karma, it leads to the God, so it is the right way to do Nishkam Karma. Vidyasagar. How is it, sir? Because those worldly people cannot think of it that Nishkam Karma can be done. So Sri Ramakrishna is teaching the science because these science, earlier days in Vedic period, Janak and other these types of rishis, they used to do these types of nishkam karma, but it is very difficult to do this nishkam karma. So Sri Ramakrishna again introduced this nishkam karma through Swamiji Noren. Once in the Dakshineshwar shrine, while this there was a talking about Vaishnava dharma, there are three main points: jive seva, name ruchi, jive seva, and also it is called the Vaishnav Seva. Sorry, Vaishnav Seva, name ruchi, and jive daya. So while Sri Ramakrishna was explaining jive daya, it is not jive daya. Who are you to show compassion to the jiva? But on the other hand, you can serve jiva. This the difference between compassion and service. These two words Sri Ramakrishna mentioned to Vivekananda Noren in those days, and thus Noren understood the significance of this word, and then he declared in himself that if God gives me chance, I shall do it in practical way. And also, Sri Ramakrishna put these keys, remained these keys to him, and later on, he used these keys through Vivekananda to preach this Nishkam Karma throughout this world. So, Vivekananda Ramakrishna Mission, it is a special character of this organization to do service for the jiva, to for the well-being of all, of Buddha and Nisrayas. Not only physical prosperity, but also the divine prosperity, means devotion towards supreme knowledge, all those things. Uh, it is said, prayer and prayer, both both are the goal of human life. In the only you will observe it, this method of learning knowledge or obtaining knowledge is the Vedic rishis. They declared it in the earlier days that they vidya veritabbe, all those things, two sciences of knowledge should be achieved by every human being. It is called yoga. One is yoga and another is, you can say, the bhoga. But bhoga, it is not the simply without any discrimination enjoy this world in this way. No, there must be some restrictions with some knowledge of spirituality. If it be utilized, if it be enjoyed, then it will take you to the knowledge, the source of knowledge. So this is the way from our earlier days, these things are going on. Now, Ramakrishna also, in this age of Kali Yuga, he is also praising, explaining this science of knowledge to achieve this goal of life. So this is also Vivekananda in the later period. He praised it, he narrated it, explained it throughout the world. In this way, it is going on. So selfless service, it is a very praiseworthy work. What you please do in that way. And Sri Ramakrishna is praising him that you are already Siddha. Siddha means we know if the potatoes and other vegetables are being boiled, then it becomes softer. So Vidyadhara Mahasaya is a very kind-hearted man, soft man. So Sri Ramakrishna is praising him, and those kind-hearted people can do these types of works for the welfare of the society. Vidyasagar Moshe is telling about the Siddha. What is Siddha? What is Siddha? How is it that, sir? Master laughing. When potatoes and other vegetables are well cooked, they become soft and tender. And you possess such tender nature. You are so compassionate. Laughter. Vidyasagar laughing. But when the paste of kalai pulse is boiled, it becomes all the more harder. This is also in Bengal, it is done in this way. This kolai dal, it is, if it be boiled, then it becomes harder. So it can be used in some other way. It is it is just making a funs the, between Vidyasagar Master and Ramakrishna. But when the master, but you don't belong to that class. Mere pandits are like this diseased. But mere pandits are like diseased fruit that becomes hard and will not ripen at all. Such fruit has neither the freshness of green fruit nor the flavor of rye. Vultures soar very high in the sky, but their eyes are fixed on rotten carrion on the ground. The book learned are reputed to be wise, but they are attached to woman and gold, like the vultures. They are in search of carrion. They are attached to the world of ignorance. Compassion, love of God, and renunciation are glories of true knowledge. So, about Siddha, Sri Krishna is now telling the expression, those colloidal is boiled. So in that context, if it be boiled, then it gets harder. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling in this way, in this context, to the that pandits, those who are mere scholars, they are like that um, boiled colloidal. But you are not like that. You are something extraordinary. You love your love of God, renunciation, and the glories of knowledge, true knowledge. So attachment to the worldly objects, the gold and woman, these 2 points were the mainly. Woman means not physical woman. Woman, it should be understood in the context of man against woman, woman against man. In this way, it should be understood. It should be taken. So considered. Now, this woman and gold, this is the it's called a parthivo objects. This is very essential to survival of this world. So Ramakrishna was not against at all of these things. What is the real purpose of Sri Ramakrishna? Ramakrishna is telling that utilization of this woman and gold in proper way it should be done. We do not, those who use it for otherwise, then it is not good for the society or not good for himself or themselves. In this way, it is done. So, the Ram Krishna is not condemning this gold and woman, but in the scriptures, it is said that when something is denied, something is condemning, it is to be understood from the context of higher level. From that level, it is said that it is not to be absolutely condemnable. It is the step, first step. But there are other higher steps are there. So if we go to reach the top of the roof, then we have to we have to leave the lower stairs, then go onwards and onwards, and then ultimately you will go to the reach. But those lower steps are not condemning. We do not deny it. We cannot deny it. It should be there. With the help of those lower steps, we shall step above and above and above. Then this is the purpose of the condemnation. So the woman and gold, we sometimes misunderstand Sri Ramakrishna's word in this way. Vidyasagar listened to these words in a silence. The others too gazed at the master and were attentive to every word he said. Vidyasagar was very reticent about giving religious instructions to others. He had studied Hindu philosophy. Once, when Aim had asked him his opinion of it, Vidyasagar had said, I think the philosophers have failed to explain what was in their minds, but in the daily life he followed all the rituals of Hindu religion and wore a sacred thread of a Brahmin. About God, he had once declared, it is indeed impossible to know him. What then should be our duty? It seems to me that we should live in such a way that if others followed our examples, this very earth would be heaven. Everyone should try to do good to the world. So, where it is said, aim sometimes back, he asked Vidyasagar, what is your idea of religion? So, as a Brahmin child, as a Brahmin man, with Brahmin by caste, he used to do his Gayatri Mantra, Shandhanik, all those things he used to do. So, in this way, he was just very superficial way of life as a Brahmin. Mainly ritualistic part of the Hindu philosophy. He was fond of this. He used to do these things, but not very deeply. This much he followed. So he replied him in that way. Now, the Sri Ramakrishna's conversation now turned to the knowledge of Brahman, Master. Brahman is beyond Vidya and Avidya, knowledge and ignorance. It is beyond Maya, the illusion of duality. Now, Sri Ramakrishna is now talking about Brahma Vidya, which is beyond the Vidya and Avidya. So it is very interesting philosophy about because it is the philosophy in which all the streams of the rivers, yeah, all the mingled here, this knowledge of supreme knowledge. Hmm, the master. Brahman is beyond Vidya and Avidya, knowledge and ignorance. It is beyond Maya, the illusion of duality. Maya, here it is said, illusion of duality. It is very much inscrutable affair. It is all these things. It is said Maya is is in that way explained in the scriptures. The world consists of illusory duality of knowledge and ignorance. It contains knowledge and devotion, and also attachment to the woman and gold, righteousness and unrighteousness, God, good and evil. But Brahman is unattached to these. Good and evil apply to the jiva, the individual soul, as do righteousness and unrighteousness. But Brahman is not at all affected by them. So here, Sam Krishna is telling the difference between the knowledge and the Vidya and Avidya. It is the realm of Maya, but the absolute Brahman, which is beyond this cause and effect, this is called absolute Brahman, and it cannot be expressed in the Upanishads, in the Gita, all those things about absolute Brahman. A lot of there are things. In the Kenopanishad, it is said, no tatra chakshur gacchati, no vak gacchati, no manah, no vidmo, no bijanimo, tathaita dhanushishyaat. In a beautiful way, that when the disciple asked Guru, Please tell me about that Brahman, how it is, what it is. Then Guru is surrendering to Shishya, as it were. That how do I tell you? Eyes cannot go there. Eyes means it is in the context of all the sense organs. It cannot reach there. Mm. And also the karmendriya. The speech is the model of karmendriya. So this all the karmendriya they cannot reach there. Even mind. The mind is an instrument by which we achieve the every external or worldly knowledge, that instrument. So mind assimilates all those informations which are sense organs, which are organs of actions. All these brings mind assimilates, and then it reaches it sends it to the buddhi, this intelligence. Then after from that, it goes to the more and more the subtle objects, and thus we receive. There is a science of I don't know. There is science of perceptible. There's a science. How do we perceive? How do we achieve knowledge of this world? There's that thing. But in this way, that Paramatman, I cannot say you. I cannot tell you that it is this. It is this. So Guru is replying to the student or his disciple that no vidmo. We do not know, no bijanimu. How do I make you know the science? If we could know it, then we could tell you. But it is not possible for us to make you understand. Then is it, sir, unknown and unavailable? Absolutely. Then how we will explain if it be so? So it is said, no, in that way. Yes, Guru is telling, what I want to tell you, whenever I shall tell you, explain it to you, for speech or any actions, then it is separate from the Atman. This is Anatman. So it is said, Annat eva tat viditat. If you know this, it is this, then it is not Atman. Annat eva tat viditat, atho aviditat odhi. Even I am not telling you that it is not here is the end, but it is beyond end. I want to tell you my intention of telling the Guru is telling to the disciple that my intention is telling to you that it is beyond our all the instruments, all the which we perceive instruments through which we perceive all the knowledge of the material world. It is beyond everything, beyond. Then how do we know? It is said that um, by the teachers, only through contact of the teachers, they can tell you. We have known from the teachers in this way. Annat eva tad vidita tato avidita tati iti susma purveshang je nastad bechakshire. So our teachers, our previous teachers, they explained us in this way. You come in contact with the Guru, it is directly to be perceived from the Guru. It is not by any instruments. In this way, it has been said in the scriptures. So this Vidya, which is beyond Vidya and Avidya, it is to be obtained through Guru. The Guru will inherit it to the Shishya directly in his heart, or you can say in his the essence of his heart. In this, you can say. Now, then Swami Krishna is telling in this way the Vidya with the explanation beyond knowledge. And the world consists of illusory duality of knowledge and ignorance. It contains knowledge and devotion, and also attached to the woman and gold, righteousness and unrighteousness. This world is a mixture of everything, righteousness and unrighteousness, good and bad, evil and good spirit. All those things are mixed here. But Brahman is unattached to these. Absolutely. In the 13th chapter of the Gita, you will see that Prakriti Purusha, how it is different, how they are different from the Prakriti and Purusha, and the Purushottama is beyond all this Purusha and Prakriti. So that Purushottama is the unit or a substance which is beyond all these things. Purushottama, it is said there in this way. The Brahman is unattached to this. One man may read the Bhagavata by the light of a lamp, and another may commit a forgery by the very light. But the lamp is unaffected. The sun sheds its light on the wicked as well as on the virtuous. So, Sam is giving an illustration nicely. It is very easily to understand to us that the sun gives us light. It falls on the good things and bad things, good men and bad men. So light is unaffected in this way to say. Or under the light, somebody is doing forgery and somebody is reading Bhagavata. So this is light is unattached in all this way. You may ask, how then one can explain misery and sin and unhappiness? The answer is that these apply only to the jiva. Brahman is unaffected by them. There is poison in a snake, but though others may die if bitten by it, the snake itself is not affected by the poison. How beautiful illustration Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning. The, the poison, it is necessary adhar. So, where the poison rests, this adhar does not affect. So, it is how is it possible? Good and bad. Everything necessary. So long we are thinking it is good, it is bad, it needs a pot. That pot is Brahman. It is unaffected, as it were. If it be poisonous or if it is be nectarous, then it does not care for it. It is absolutely different from attachment for the effect from the effect of those good and bad evils. Spirit. Now, what Brahman is cannot be described. All things in the world, the Vedas, the Puranas, the Tantras, the six systems of philosophy have been defined like food that has been touched by the tongue, for they have been read or unuttered by the tongue. Only one thing has not been defined in this way, and that is Brahman. No one has ever been able to say what Brahman is. So, what I have told you, mentioned you in the Upanishad, the Kana Upanishad, many Upanishads are there. Many words, these phrases are there like this. Because Upanishad gives us this absolute knowledge of the about Brahman through various Chandogya, Vedanta, Kathopanishad, Kenopanishad, all the Upanishads are delivering this knowledge of Sakshat Brahman, Aparaksha Brahman. So, Sri Ramakrishna is telling about that the books, the Upanishads, though they have tried to give us this knowledge, but yet in the book, if you read out and put it in the heart, get it by heart, even then it is not known. It cannot be known. Only the only Brahman whom it shows in himself, then only he can know it. This is the word. At last, it is said in that way. Brahman, if it is not known or understood, then what is the utility of this Brahman? The purpose is this. It is not to be utilized like the potato and brinjals. It is the utilization of the self-revelation. This is the knowledge of Supreme Self, Supreme Spirit, by which one, here is the end of everything. All, as it were, this the rivers, when they mingle in the ocean, then they lose their identity, their name and form. In this way, they get transformed into the ocean. In the same way, when a man realizes that Supreme Brahman, he himself becomes that Brahman. There is no good and bad, righteousness or unrighteousness. He goes beyond everything. It is absolutely unattached. In this way, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, citing these illustrations, all these things, Vidyasagar to his friends. Oh, that is a remarkable statement. I have learned something new today. This word, our Vidyasagar Moshe was a great Pandit. He had studied many scriptures, but yet this word, that everything has been defiled, only Brahman has not been defiled. So this defilation, knowledge of defilation, how it gets defiled, this Vidyasagar Moshe did not know. Because it is not explained in the scriptures. It is directly coming from the Guru, like Ramakrishna. So Brahmagyan is like this. When Guru told it, they delivered it to the Shishwa, then immediately he becomes that Brahman. He enjoys that supreme absolute Brahman. In this way, he is telling. Vidyasagar to his friends of that remarkable statement, I have learned something new today, Master. A man had two sons. Sri Ramakrishna is telling another story. The father sent them to a preceptor to learn the knowledge of Brahman. After a few years, they returned from their preceptor's house and bowed low before their father, wanting to measure the depth of the knowledge of Brahman. He first questioned the older of the two boys. My child, he said, you have studied all the scriptures. Now tell me, what is the nature of Brahman? The boy began to explain Brahman by reciting various texts from the Vedas. The father did not say anything. Then he asked the younger son the same question, but the boy remained silent, and he asked the younger son the same question. But the boy remained silent and stood with eyes cast down. No word escaped his lips. The father was pleased and said to him, my child, you have understood a little of Brahman. What is what it is cannot be explained, cannot be expressed in words. Men often think that they have understood Brahman fully. Once an ant went to a hill of sugar. One grain filled its stomach. Taking another grain in its mouth, it started homeward. On its way, it thought, next time I shall carry that Brahman is I shall carry the whole hill. That is the way that is the way shallow's mind think. That is the way shallow minds think. They don't know that Brahman is beyond one's words and thought. However, great a man may be, how much can be know, how much he can know of Brahman. Shukdev and sages like him been may have been big ants, but even they could carry at the utmost 8 or 10 grains of sugars. So this is the Sri Ramakrishna is telling about the shallow knowledge of man and the more wide knowledge of man, or the bigger knowledge of man. So shallow means these ants, those who are thinking the next time when I shall come, then I shall take the hills of sugar. So it is like that. That narrow people, they think that we have known everything, but it is not at all in that way to be known. So Sam Krishna is telling, citing an illustration of ants in this way. As for what has been said in the Vedas and Puranas, do you know what it is like? Suppose a man has been Suppose a man has seen the ocean and somebody asks him, well, what is the ocean like? The first man opens his mouth as wide as can and say, what a sight! What a tremendous waves and sounds! The description of Brahman in the sacred books in this is like that. It is said in the Vedas that Brahman is of nature of bliss. It is Satchidananda. So here also another illustration is given that a man after seeing the ocean, when he is asked, "Hi, how did you see the ocean?" He is explaining, oh, big waves, big size, these are all the speech. This is, you cannot show that what he has seen in the ocean or about the ocean. This is cannot be explained. So all the scriptures, they give us little hint, this much. But object is this. You can. It is how it can be shown to the others. It is as it is. So it can be. It is a matter of revelation. Who realizes it, he can know only. This is the fact Sam Krishna is telling. And many illustrations are there. Sam Krishna is one after another. This chapter is Master Musha has divided it into seven chapters. So one after another, Sam Krishna is giving illustrations after illustrations in this way to make this highest philosophy much more easier and softer and very interesting to the for the common people, my people like us who are having shallow sense of knowledge. This Sam Krishna is trying to unfold his that knowledge of ocean to these types of people in this world. We are here. So it is said in the Vedas that Brahman is of this nature of bliss. It is Satchidananda. Shuko and other sages stood on the shore of this ocean of Brahman and saw and touched the water. According to one school of thought, they never plunged into it. Those who do cannot come back to the world again. So, in this way, the standing on the bank of the river ocean, the Shukdev, this the son of Vasdeva. He was himself the embodiment of supreme Brahman, supreme knowledge. But yet, Sam is telling that as it were, they only get the hints of that big ocean in this way. There are many categories. So Hamiji also said in his Hinduism lecture in Parliament and in America, there he said that a frog during flood, uh, it has entered into the well. So the frog who was earlier in the well, he is telling, having seen the new guest, where from are you? I am from the ocean. And so the frog did not see the ocean. So frog in the well, he did not see the ocean. So he is asking, what is your ocean? Can you tell me? Then, jumping from this the side to that side in the ocean, is it like ocean in the well? Is it the ocean like this? Oh, how, sir, how shall I explain it? What is the size of the ocean? In this way, it has been said. So we all remaining in the well of the ignorance, telling, oh, everything we know, everything we get it in our heart. In this way, it is not the reality. Reality is something different. We all are in the ignorance. We all are having this shallow knowledge of Brahman. So this is not at all. If you say I have known that Brahman, you are absolutely unknown about it. So in this way, Sri Ramakrishna is telling. In a samadhi, one attains the knowledge of Brahman. One realizes Brahman. In that state, reasoning stops altogether. Man becomes mute. He has no power to describe the nature of Brahman. As we have seen in the earlier two sons of his father. So he the what about his younger son said and replied about Brahman. It is said in this way again here. So it cannot be described. It is Brahman. Once a salt doll went to measure the depth of the ocean. So something is another illustration. Salt doll, salt doll. So what is this? If it goes to the water, then it gets melted. So how it will come back and give the information? It wanted to tell others how deep the water was, but this it could never do, for no sooner did it get into the water than it melted. Now, who was there to report the ocean's depth? Because where there is one, who will report to whom? What about the reporting matter? So, in this way, that absolute one, you cannot be, if there is a relation, it is necessary of two beings are necessary to explain, to see. The guru and teacher is necessary to discuss all this Brahman. But if guru reaches to that Brahman, he will also be, he will also keep mute. He will not be able to explain what I have seen. Sri Ramakrishna himself, he has his experience. In Dakshineshwar, while devotees were there in his room, after reaching to that samadhi, he after some times when he came back from samadhi, he is telling to his devotees, "You see, I am trying to tell you what I have experienced there, but mother cut my throat, my neck. I cannot speak. It is as it were. She is putting obstruction to give this expression. So what I shall do? I want to tell you. I want to relate you this information about samadhi, but mother is disturbing me. I cannot do you. So in physically, it is said logically. You can say it that a mortal being cannot express the immortal one. We are all mortyo. Mortyo means mortal being. So this mortal being, how it will explain which is immortal? Or in the other way, what is limited being, it cannot express the unlimited one. When this unlimited one will be explained, then it will automatically get into limited being. So it is ever untouched, unaffected. In this way, it is said. A devotee. Suppose a man has obtained the knowledge of Brahman in Samadhi, does not he speak anymore? So in the Gita, we also see Arjuna is asking, Sitabraggashoka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sitadhi kim prabhaseta kimasita bhajeta kim. So Arjuna is asking to Krishna, the who has how he speaks, a man of samadhi, or how he moves in this world, a man who achieved that samadhi, who achieved that absolute supreme Brahman, how he moves, how he behaves, how he sleeps, how he sits, all these things he is asking. So Sri Krishna is telling this reply from Gita second chapter. At the end, he is replying many words he is telling. So, Master, Shankaracharya retained the ego of knowledge in order to teach others. After the vision of Brahman, a man becomes silent. He reasons, he reasons about it as long as he has not realized it. If you heat butter in a pan on the stove, it makes a sizzling sound as long as the water it contains has not dried up. But when no trace of water is left, the clarified butter makes no sounds. If you put an uncooked cake of flour in that butter is it sizzles again. But after the cake is cooked, all sound stops. Just so, a man established in samadhi comes down to the relative plane of consciousness in order to teach others, and then he takes about God. He talks about God. So the that noble souls who has got the power, adhikari purush, it is said in the Sanskrit, adhikarik purush, those who are special people, who are special in this category, they can only relate it as a hint for the welfare of the world. So Shankaracharya had that power to retaliate it with his disciples, with his devotees in this way. So we see in our life that Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, and Sharda Devi, they also appeared in this world, as it were, for the well-being of the humanity. This truth, we lost this science of knowledge. So Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Sharda Devi in the 19th century, they were for this purpose to save the humanity, to protect the humanity. The bee, again, here it is say telling those you see in Luchi, if you put the in the unripened ghee, then it gets the sounds as teasing. This is the sizzling, the sound. It is the call in Bengali. It is said in this way. So the knowledge of man of knowledge, when he reaches there, then it becomes calm and quiet and mute, silent. So when the luchi became the fully fried, then no sound is there. When you will put the unripened, or you can say the raw luchi in the water in the hot pan or hot ghee, then it will make again sound, and afterwards it goes away, that sound. In this way it is said. So in the bee barges as long as it is not sitting on a flower. Again, another illustration about the Brahmor, the bees. You see, when it flies, then the sound comes. Then when it sucks the honey from the flower, it stops. It becomes silent when it begins to sip the honey, but sometimes intoxicated with the honey, it buzzes again. So again, when it gets out of of this sucking the honey or sip the honey, then it buzzes. An empty pitcher makes a gargling sound when it is dipped in water. When it fills up, it becomes silent or laugh. But if the water is poured from it into another pitcher, then you will hear the sound again, laughter. This is the way of knowledge. After reaching there, no sound. So Sri Ramakrishna again, the fourth chapter, fourth part of this day, 5th December. It is sorry, Sri Ramakrishna with the Ramakrishna visited and it is called um, 5th of December, no? No, company devotees. March 11, 1882. We have studied up to this. There are many chapters. We let it be finished here. Thank you all. My best wishes to you. So, Jai Sri Guru Maharaj Ji ki Jai. Jai Mahamai ki Jai. Jai Samji Maharaj Ji ki Jai. Jai Ganga Mai ki Jai. My ঘন্টা 5 মিনিট হয়ে গেল